I'm the party pooper. Yes. Yes, this is it. This is the review that you've been waiting for your whole life. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I want them answered immediately. Who is your daddy? And what does he do? This is Kindergarten Cop. And this is the first of my 40 for 40. If you watched my channel announcement video, then you know what that means. You know it means I'm turning 40 this year. I'm having a little bit of a midlife crisis, so I'm going to share 40 of my favorite films with you. Yeah, I really love Kindergarten Cop, and it has audio description on Netflix. Thank you, Netflix. Netflix, the place to go when when you really just need that one film. And you really hope it has audio description. I just wanted to set the tone. I could have tried to set the tone here on day one with some, I don't know, really artsy film, but that's not what 40 for 40 is for. 40 for 40 is, these are the films that if I'm having a bad day, I turn to these films. And there's nothing more entertaining to me than the fact that somebody was like, so what if, hear me out, what if we put Arnold Schwarzenegger with little kids and go? And yeah, I mean, it's silly and it works. And I think part of the reason that it works is that it's directed by Ivan Reitman, which is something that I think a lot of people forget. They just think Kindergarten Cop was this sort of like throwaway 90s comedy. But it did actually have Ivan Reitman behind it. So sometimes even when the film seems a little cash grabby or a little silly or a little whatever, if you have the right director behind it, it's going to end up being kind of well made, no matter what. And Ivan knows what he's doing in terms of being able to assemble a film, and I think he understood what was funny about it. I think he understood the comedy of having Schwarzenegger here. Schwarzenegger isn't trying. He's not necessarily hamming it up I'm not going to say he's a comedy genius. It's the people that know what makes him funny in this situation, and writing him these ridiculous lines that end up working so gloriously in this movie that I love so much. There's so many like little quotable lines in this film that I enjoy so much. Like it's not the tumor. It's just he just has so many reactions. And yeah, I've seen this film like 1,000 times. I don't know. I really have no idea how many times I've seen Kindergarten Cop, either in full or in part on cable, when you catch it in progress. So I don't even know. But I just remember as a kid thinking that this other little kid was dope. This kid, he's got this little like fort, and then he goes and he climbs a radio tower, and even though he kind of messes up and falls and decides to do it in like a thunderstorm, which more props to you, kid, for climbing a giant metal structure in the middle of a storm. I mean, he's trying to put like a laser up there. He's got these little like lasers, and they're attached to his backpack, and he's very adventurous. And I don't know, I was like, this kid's awesome. I like this kid. And I was about the same age, I mean, 1990, I'm telling you, I'm turning 40, so you know what year I was born. I wasn't that far off from the ages of the Kindergarten Cop kids. They were probably a little bit older than the ages they played. So, yeah, this film was appropriate for me. I know it's PG-13, but the violence in this film never really threw me off. A couple people get shot. That's about it. One guy gets attacked by the ferret. He gets the ferret attacked to the neck. The ferret is well trained. He knows. He is in that kid's jacket, and he's like, this is my time. This is why they put me in the movie. He climbs up and grabs a crisp in the neck. I've had ferrets before. Anybody who's ever had ferrets knows, by the way, they do bite. Not necessarily hard, but it's the fact that a ferret just that he, that Kimball supposedly has this ferret that never bites, and he feels so confident in handing to a bunch of kindergartners who are going to test its limits. And just to me now as an adult, I'm like, I don't know that I would do that. I don't know. I mean, most animals bite, just to be honest. Even, if you put them, if they get stressed, they'll snap at you. Even cute little dogs snap at you. So yeah, it's the first film though that I can remember seeing like a ferret in and being like, I want that. I have to have that. I need that ferret in my life. I don't know, like, I don't know how the ferret survived the plane trip. Like, these are things I think about now as an adult, because he just kind of like climbs out. Like, they're in the rental car and suddenly there's a ferret. And you're like, where did this ferret come from? Was he checked overhead? Was he in the overhead? And first of all, did they just not check? Maybe they don't check cops. Maybe cops' bags when they walk through. This was a simpler time. This was the 1990s. So when Schwarzenegger puts down his bag, first of all, he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so who's going to stop him? So when he puts down his carry-on luggage and flashes his badge, they're just like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't care what's in there. Go on through, sir. This is the 90s. We don't want to slow you down. Please have fun. Go get on your flight. So he just heads on out. Pamela Reed, by the way, is the sidekick in this. She's the perfect little sarcastic asshole sidekick. It's great. And she just eats her way through the film. Looking back on it now as an adult, I could sit here and pick it apart and be like, why does her fiance come up? Like, aren't they undercover? Why is she sharing her location? Like, he could blow the cover. Like, she's so worried about, blowing the cover because, after one day, John Kimball comes in and he's like, I can't do this anymore. And she's like, we can't, it'll blow our cover. I'm sorry, you're stuck. It's all you, So, but then her fiance comes up and surprises her in the cabin. It's just like, so that one thing would blow your cover, but not this other thing? Okay. It only blows the cover when it's something you don't want to do. When you're like, no, actually, I'm happy I don't have to deal with the kindergartners. By all means. Penelope Ann Miller's in this. I don't know what happened to her career, but sorry. Hollywood needs to apologize to Penelope Ann Miller because I remember her from the 90s and she was fine. And then all of a sudden she just disappeared. I tried to look her up. I guess she was on Riverdale once recently. That's where she's at in her life now. Linda Hunt obviously spent like forever on NCIS Los Angeles, which is apparently also where Pamela Reed went, by the way, in case you're wondering. The Crisps kind of just faded away. We didn't really keep them around. We didn't really need the Crisps to have a long storied acting career. Although, I will tell you that Richard Tyson's acting career is just absurd. I looked him up on IMDb. I was like, what happened to Crisp? Oh my God. Talk about having a career full of things no one's ever seen. That dude has so many credits listed of things I'm like, what is this? Where was this released? Isn't like a movie called Hayride? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I don't know. And he was in Hayride too, by the way. I don't know. What are these movies? Where are we releasing them? Does he work in a foreign country? Are these Canadian films? I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't care enough to like click on each one and then individually track their like box office and domestic receipts to try to figure out where Richard Tyson's been this whole career. The little kids are adorable. I think one of them is Jennifer Love Hewitt, if I remember correctly. I didn't even bother looking that up because I think I could pull that from memory. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt was one of the little kids in the film back in the day. I guess that means I'm about the same age as Jennifer Love Hewitt. So, yeah, I love this movie. I don't know why. I love the I don't know. I just love the cheesy one-liners. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is John Kimball, and I love my car. The guys are like, yeah, man, we just gonna watch a car for you. And then as he's walking away, you hear him go, man, why did try to step out? He's like, I didn't kick his ass. Kind of wanted Schwarzenegger to just turn around with his gun and just fire off a warning shot. The audio description in this, for somebody who's never seen Kindergarten Cop, you are in good hands. I mean, the action sequences in this are really well described. The scene where he trashes the little junkie hideout actually was really well done. And I've seen this like 20 times, so I can tell you, I felt like, yeah. I was like, because I can picture it in my head. I've seen this so many times. Like, listening to it just brought back all of the imagery that I had absorbed from having actually seen it a bunch of times. So I didn't necessarily, I wasn't just left with like, oh, what's happening? What is this? What does it look like? You know, I mean, I kind of remember everything. I remember that, you know, there's a scene when Crisp is in the school and he's touring it, and Linda Hunt has no idea what's going on, and the kids are playing the game and he doesn't know John Kimball's in there right away, and then there's this little like game, and suddenly Kimball like rises up and he's like, "Grrr!" And then and Crisp sees him and he's like, oh shit, damn, he's in there, he's got my kid. Yeah, so there are definitely a lot of scenes that it helps bring back. I mean, like, really specific things too. It talks about, like, in the montage of him, which doesn't make any sense, by the way. As an adult, I look back on this film and I think about things now where I'm like, I think I'm supposed to think about these things. It's 2023. I'm supposed to be like, Kathleen Moriarty has a sit-down conversation with Arnold Schwarzenegger that's basically, my son plays with dolls, and it's weird. And I'm like, okay, so now that's not a great conversation to have. But back then, I don't even really remember that conversation. That conversation is so, like, her and her son are so not the main characters of the film that it's not the conversation you remember from the film. It didn't, like, change my life. It didn't make me go, oh, I shouldn't play with dolls because Kathy Moriarty says it's weird. Like, there was no part of me as a kid that kept me from doing anything like that. I was just like, I don't know this bitch's problem is, but, you know, it's whatever. Yeah, so that scene didn't even register with me as a kid, but, like, as an adult, you just go, oh, that's unfortunate. And I'm like, man, times have changed, because as a kid, I didn't even notice that scene when it was happening. So it's not like it made me feel a certain way. I wasn't like, oh I can't play with dolls now. Kathy Moriarty said not to. But yeah, so it's there's this huge montage scene where he, you know, gets them all like whipped into shape, and then they sit down and it's calming down time, and he passes out the milk, and he's sitting down, and little Dominic comes up and he's like, if you read them this book, well, I'll fall asleep. He's got the squeakiest little voice. It's so adorable. I want to adopt Dominic, by the way. He just comes up in this little voice. If you read this book, well, I'll go to sleep. And I'm like, Wait a minute. So are you telling me everything that just happened was in the first day? Because it's so weird for you to just walk up to him on day, I don't know, 34 and be like, here's a book. I know you haven't been doing anything the last 33 days every time we have nap time, but maybe this time you should read us a book. Um, yeah, it kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like they forgot that they just montaged a scene that couldn't possibly have happened all in one day. So it had to have happened over multiple days. Well, don't they have nap time every day? And if they do have nap time every day, what was he doing before the kid gave him a book? So now I'm thinking there's this world in which Dominic is just like laying on this mat going, if this motherfucker doesn't read me a fucking book, I swear to fucking God, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna slap him in his face. And then finally he just gets up and he's like, read this book. Read us a book. That's why nobody can go to sleep. We haven't read a book. We're kids. You have to read us books. So that's why he does it. Is out of frustration. He just gets up and because remember he doesn't know many people, but they're all better than him. That's a cute response, by the way. I don't think definitely we don't give the writers any credit for Kindergarten Cop, but it is kind of a cute response because he does his the like sort of annoying thing. He's like, my mom's a better teacher than you. My nanny is a better teacher than you, and like he just like lists better people that are better than Arnold at their job, than Detective John Kimball at their jobs, and then John says, "Is great. Is there anybody you know who isn't better than me?" I don't know many people. It's like such a great response. I don't know. I love this movie. It's infectious, and I'm glad I got a chance to talk about it. It's weird. The audio description gets a little like, I mean, it's great in certain places, but it does get a little like, bow chicka wow wow wow. It keeps referring to Penelope Ann Miller as like lovely, like it doesn't know what to do with her, like to describe her physicality. So she's a lovely woman, and it finds multiple times to make sure that you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger, in case you didn't know this as a blind person, in case you're the blind person that fell off the turnip truck, you don't have to be blind to know that Arnold Schwarzenegger is like a big action star who's ripped and has got muscles and but they're going to remind you about his muscles multiple times in this film. And there's this one scene where they're like, his muscles can barely be contained by the polo shirt he's wearing. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing with this audio description? I know the film is PG-13, but I was like, I don't think there are a whole bunch of adults with no kids sitting around watching Kindergarten Cop who didn't watch this as kids. This is pretty much a film that was aimed at families. I know it got the PG-13 rating, but let's be honest. It was a family movie. So, I know they tried to make a sequel to this, like, years later down the road. I think Larry the Cable Guy did a sequel. I think he did a sequel to this, and I think he also did Jingle All the Way, too. He just kept trying to do Arnold Schwarzenegger sequels. I don't know why, but we did not need that. Although I would be, if Arnold Schwarzenegger tomorrow woke up and wanted to reprise his role as Kindergarten Cop, done. I could see that. I could see that film. He's John Kimball, and he has spent a career as a kindergarten teacher, and he's ready to retire. And all of the kids from the original film, they've now grown up. And they've now got kids that are coming into his kindergarten class. So they're like the parents of the kindergarten, of the original. Like, it just comes full circle. It's a full circle moment. It's a Mr. Holland's opus for Detective John. It's John Kimball's opus at the end of the film. And they all come back in and they're like, we're so grateful that we had you for our kindergarten teacher. We needed somebody to aggressively blow a whistle at us and ask us to walk around in circles. Without that, I don't know where we would be in our lives. So thank you for that. Detective Kimball, Captain, my captain. I love this film. I love it a lot. It's I don't care if you think it's great. I don't even care what the scores are. I don't know what its Rotten Tomatoes is, anything like that. I did IMDb it, so yes, I do know what its IMDb and Metacritic score is, and honestly, I was not terribly surprised. If anything, I was kind of impressed, especially on the Metacritic. I was like, really? That's the Metacritic? All right. I'll take that. But yeah, so I love this film. I'm glad I got a chance to share it with you. Now, grading this is a problem because I know what I'm going to do here. And you need to understand this is a film that I love with my soul. So it's almost hard to grade it any other way possible, because for me, like, I choose this film over other films. There are films that I've seen like once and never need to see again, and I'm like, those are A films, right? Those are great films. They're 3.5 hours long. Maybe they're they're slow, whatever happened, but it was a profound experience that one time that I had them. However, I've seen Kindergarten Cop like 27 times. So I think it won in the long run. I think it won. It's slow and steady wins the race. So I think a lot of my 40 for 40 films, it's just pretty safe to assume I'm almost always going to go, my final grade is A+. Yeah. That's the thing about being a favorite film of all time for me is I'm burying my soul here and letting you guys know that I really, really love Kindergarten Cop. And I'm going to give it an A+. No shame. I feel no shame in giving Detective John Kimball an A+ for this film. So, I hope you guys love Kindergarten Cop. I hope you loved my first of my 40 for 40s. We got 39 more to go this summer as I turn 40. I'm sure some of them will be on the other side of 40. I will have turned 40 and I'll be slightly even more depressed in those final couple of reviews. This is film number 37, and I don't know what's going on in my life. I'm 40 now, and yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. This film has excellent audio description, and I can say that unequivocally, having seen this film before. I thought just the audio description in this film is one of the best that I have ever heard. It's hard sometimes when I watch audio description for a film I haven't seen, because then I'm like, I don't know what I'm missing. Here I was like, oh my god, this is a perfect encapsulation of the film. This audio description team worked overtime on this audio description. It's way better than you would expect the audio description to Kindergarten Cop to be. It is actually really descriptive, and you will not feel left behind. So, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching and subscribing. You can also visit my website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can go to Twitter or Instagram and follow me at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the Audio Description Project, adp.acb.org. It lets you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. And it'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. I hope you had fun with this. That's the point of this is, I'm having a little bit of, it's not midlife. I mean, I guess it is if I die at 80, but it's a midlife crisis. And I need films like this in my life. So I'm just sharing them with you. And I was so bold as to pick Kindergarten Cop as the first film to immediately set the tone, because I don't want you guys to sit here and think that you're gonna get Ingmar Bergman films or something like that. I don't know what you think 40 for 40 is gonna be, but I needed Kindergarten Cop to be, listen, some of this stuff may not be what you think it's what you think is gonna make the list. But by the end of 40 for 40, you should have a really good idea of my influences, of the films that have kept me loving film for so long. So thanks to Arnold and the team at Kindergarten Cop for making such an absurdly simplistic concept into such an adorable, quotable movie. It's one of my favorite, and I love that I got to talk about it. I will watch something else, and I will see you guys on the other side.